Hello. Welcome to what is this segment called? This is my what I'm thinking show or video, but it's from the car. So yeah, quick thing. What's going to happen with Arsenal this season? I just thought I would get this dump all these thoughts I have. But yeah, so where are we going to finish this season? Now, I think a lot of people are saying we should be able to win the league, and I think that's thinking in a box. That's thinking that we only play the Premier League and we don't play in have other competitions that we're going to be playing against. So I kind of feel like, you know what? If you look at it as a whole and look at where we've come, if this is progression, we've basically really only competed in maybe one or two competitions each season. And this season we need to compete in four. So the only way we're going to do that is one, depth, two, continued improvement from our players, and also improvement from our manager in terms of the way that he rotates and substitutes his players. So I kind of feel like all of those things have to play a part, and we have to be healthy as well. All of that happens, we'll be able to compete on all four fronts. We definitely should be able to win a trophy if we're able to do that. That's the big concern. All of those things have to play out, and then we'll be able to get that trophy everybody wants. Premier League trophy or Champions League trophy. I think Champions League is a stretch right now. We just got into that one. And then Arteta has not figured out how to rotate his players in the European competitions yet. That's kind of one of the things I wanted him to do last season when we were in the Europa League, is to figure out how to compete in both Premier League and Europa League at least. And we didn't do that. We just went with a kind of a weaker team. And we always had to pull in our starters. Going forward, we can't do that. If we're playing in the Champions League and we have a Premier League game against maybe a lower tier team, we should be able to switch out and not have to depend so much on our starters. So they have to play in, back-to-back games like that. We need to be able to, compete with our depth that we have now and be able to see things through. Now, the only way it's going to happen, right, is if we have an answer for Saka for once. Right? Do we have that? I don't know. Reece Nelson, will he be healthy enough to play in a lot of those games that Saka shouldn't be playing in, be it like Carabao Cup, FA Cup, maybe even some of the lower Premier League teams in the table? Milsuf Rowe, where will he come in? His health is also another concern. Will he be able to, continue where he left off before he got injured? So a lot of that's going to play into him and that would be part of our rotation as well. Vieira, we've seen him play okay. Is he ready to take the reins from Erdegaard in those cup games and in maybe some Premier League games? Not sure yet. I think that's still a question to be answered there. I think a lot of people, we saw him kick that last kick of the Community Shield, and hopefully that gives him some confidence that he can play in this league. But I think, is he ready to replace what Erdegaard does on the pitch, even in an FA Cup or a Carabao Cup or, against the bottom tier teams? I'm not sure of that just yet. So those are questions that have to be answered. We've got our new additions in. Rice will hopefully spell Partey. So Partey also, he won't be dependent on hopefully half the games. I could see him hopefully maybe playing maybe 30 games this season with all that we have to play. Played a lot more than 30 last season. I think that was a little bit too much. As Ray from the Arsenal fan circle will tell you, 24 was a good number for him, and that's kind of what he was doing before he came into Arsenal in terms of starts in the top tier league. I think that would be good for us if we can do that. If we can get that out of him, plus Champions League, he's got the experience there. So why not? Jorginho can come in and play and start in either the cup games or whatnot, and we should be fine there. And then if Elneny is still with the team, then he'll come in and spot him as well. And when we want to go to our third level person there, or Rice, like I said, will be there to cover some of the games. So we've got a lot of answers for some of those questions. Not Erdegaard, but on that left 8, you've got right now, we're thinking it's going to be Havertz, Milsuf Rowe maybe, probably not. Trossard maybe could play there. So we'll see what happens there. The fact that Havertz started right at the top in this last game, and Jesus is going to be out for at least 1 or 2 games from here on out. That'll tell us what's going on there. So this is going to be kind of where, yes, we're a team that's better, but if we're going to compete on 4 fronts, we can't be expecting us to go out there and easily get a Premier League. For me, I think if we're talking about being real about this thing, where is this team right now? Barely able to compete on 2 fronts. So now we're talking about going into the Champions League and also competing in the Premier League. I think that will be a big challenge. Arteta's got a big chore in front of him, and that's where that Havertz deal is. So for me, I think is a big deal, because not only now does he have to get Havertz back to his form before he joined Chelsea essentially, but he's going to have to get this team to also compete at a top level in everything that they do. Hasn't done that yet. People said, we've kind of given up on the cup games last season. Well, it gets tougher now. So he's going to have to learn how to do that. Will he be able to do that in a summer? Basically, essentially, have a plan to do this in a summer? I hope so, but I'm not. I kind of feel like we're asking a lot there. We're seeing the progression we want, but are we going to be able to compete on all 4 fronts? I expect us to be able to compete for a trophy at some point this season. A final. Maybe, hopefully, even the league will be good. Champions League might be a stretch with the teams that are in there that we're going to have to compete against. So, yeah, I kind of feel like we've got a lot. I think the expectations of some fans will be, we should be, with all the work that we've done, we should be able to win a league. But I also caveat that with, you have a lot of other competitions that we have to compete in. And Arteta, hopefully, can spread his team around so they can compete in all of them. If we're seeing the same thing Saka playing in every game, then we know that we're still missing a player there. And if we're seeing, I think if we see going into that City game, which I think is the 8th or 9th game of the season, if there are players outside of the goalkeeper who have, I think, 6 or 7 starts, that means for me, that means that we probably don't have the rotation that we need or the confidence in the players that we have for Arteta. I think we're going to need to kind of switch some players around. Even though it's 1 game a week, I still feel like we have players that can start for us and should. Like a Trossard should be able to start for us in at least 2 or 3 of the games leading up to that 9th game or 8th game of the season, whatever it is. So I kind of feel like those are the things that I'm going to expect to see, and you'll know where we are. Just look at the starts. If you're seeing new players coming in and out of the lineup, that's perfect. I think if Jesus is coming back as early as they say, he'll take a start out. He'll take at least Havertz out of that position. So there you go. Trossard definitely deserves it. If Zinchenko comes back, he will get starts. So that should whittle down those players that have to play in every game, even now, because I think Timber has shown that he probably can play in this league, but we'll see how he does. We have players that have come in a pinch and played, like Nelson has come in. We know Milsterfro can do it. Jorginho definitely can do it. So I would like to feel we can rotate, even with 1 game a week. I think we still need to be able to do that, so that we're not trying to figure it out when we get to those midweek games, those cup games and all of that. I kind of feel like that's too late. I feel like that's too late. I think we should be able to rotate our players going into that first 2-3 months of the season, so that we're ready to go when those cup competitions come about. So yeah, so that's how I feel. My minimum expectations for the team, like worst case scenario, where I guess Arteta keeps his job, we need to get out of the cup, get out of the group stages for the Champions League. We need to go deep in the 2 domestic cups. I'd like to see a semi-final or a final in one of those, in either probably both of them. That's, I think we can get there. The Premier League, worst case scenario for me would be like a top 3. But those are the things that would show progression. If I told you that we're going to be able to compete on all 4 fronts, get out of the cup, the group stages, then I would think that we've done a good job there. in terms of improvement. I think we should be able to hopefully get across the line in one of those scenarios and get a trophy. I think the team deserves it. They worked really hard for it. So we'll see how they do. But I think that's kind of where I sit with this thing. So, yeah. Let me know what you think about it. And as I like to say, life is a journey. Don't waste a trip. Enjoy the ride. And I'll see you on the next one.